Hello and welcome to the second instalment of Game and Vlog, the weekly show where I play a game and I vlog about stuff. Pretty simple that, isn't it? This week we're going to be topical yet again. For this past weekend we have had the release of the Castlevania Netflix animated series, which 4 episodes, around 20 to 25 minutes each. It's almost like a little film split into parts, and it's actually pretty good. I mean, admittedly I was probably the first person to probably think it was going to be bad before it came out, but after watching all 4 episodes this past weekend, I've actually enjoyed it, and I think the big reason of that is because it's kind of mostly based around a game that exists, a game that I'm playing here right now. This is the Japanese version of Castlevania III Dracula's Curse. I think it's called Akumajou Dracula Densetsu, and the reason I have gone for this particular version is because it actually has some different music to what's in the original North American and PAL versions, and that's because it has a particular chipset in it which gives it extra sound channels, so it sounds a little bit better. But I'm going to play a bit of this while we play and talk about this new series, which, you know, it feels like it's been a long time coming. I mean, for years there's been talk of a movie about Castlevania. I know that Paul W.S. Anderson, who did the Resident Evil films and the Mortal Kombat film, was involved in it, but that fell through for one reason or another. So what we have here is, as I said, a 4-episode cartoon arc, and which they've already announced is going to be a second season, which, you know, the first weekend it came out they announced that, which is quite impressive. So it means that Netflix definitely has some sort of confidence in the show, which I think is well deserved, because, as I said, like, the show so far has been pretty damn good. Completely not what I expected. For a start, it is incredibly gory. I'm not going to go too much into spoilers here, but needless to say, if you like gore, and animated gore in particular, it will satisfy you on that account, no end. It's very anime, but I'm not an anime fan, and I'll admit that. There are a few sort of anime stuff that I like, that I can enjoy, but as a whole I do find the genre not to my taste. And Castlevania is sort of like anime in terms of how it's drawn and that, but it's very well done. I think the best part of it is how well it's written. I believe a guy called Warren Ellis is a comic book writer who was involved in writing the show, and it's not what you expect. The main protagonist in this one is Trevor Belmont, who is the protagonist of Castlevania III, and Trevor he's not exactly what you call your typical hero. He reminds me a bit of Jack Sparrow in how he's written. He's sort of like a drunkard who, you know, was once part of the great Belmont house, and they've fallen on harder times, and he is the last of the Belmonts, shunned by society for one reason or another, and spends initially most of his time being a drunkard, picking fights in bars, etc. And it's very well written. It's not completely serious. There are some quite funny areas where there's some pretty funny dialogue and some kind of ongoing jokes, I guess, if you can call them that. But overall, it is incredibly well done. It is, you know, it is way better than it has any right to be, and I think that's because it's well written. They haven't pulled any punches in terms of violence. I mean, there are decapitations, there are eyes being literally whipped out of sockets. You know, it's pretty much everything you'd want from a Castlevania show if you're an adult. And the thing about adaptations is, when you're dealing with a video game adaptation, because you're taking something that's interactive and making it something that you watch normally, that's sort of where it fails. But for a game like Castlevania 3 that's very old, very lacking in narrative, unless of course you read instruction manuals and things like that, because there is so much ambiguity in a game like this, there's plenty of room to sort of make a adaptation about this and flesh out the characters and the situations, and that's exactly what this TV show has done. To its credit, I say, like, it's so well written. It doesn't go for the straight up, oh, you know, we need to get Dracula right now. In fact, Dracula is barely in it, without spoiling too much, but it definitely looks like there's a lot more room to sort of take this further in Season 2. You meet some characters from Castlevania 3. Again, I'm not going to spoil things by telling you who, but you can probably guess if you've played the game, you know who you're going to be meeting. There's some great characters, there's some fantastic action. It's very well animated, very well sort of choreographed, some of the fight scenes, and again, like even some of the fight scenes are quite funny at times, but as I say, mostly very, very violent. The monsters are well drawn, and again the battles with those are just absolutely incredible. It's pretty much everything you would want a video game adaptation to sort of be. As I say, it adds something new to to what we've had from Castlevania 3. It takes away that interactivity that you get from the game, but it adds that sort of narrative element, so it makes you want to watch it, even if you haven't, even if you've played the game to death. There's a lot to like about it, and the fact that they have added a second series that is coming very soon, I mean, that's just absolutely incredible. I mean, how long it's going to take for that to come out, I don't know. 2D animation is a very slow process, and it's a very costly process, which is obviously why they've only done 4 episodes so far. But after those 4 episodes, running at around 80 to 90 minutes in total, I was happy. I was way impressed, and I don't know if that's because my expectations were lowered, but I'm kind of thinking it's more than that, because other people are sort of feeling the same way, that they've watched it and they like it because it does something different. It's ambitious, it's not pulling any punches, it's not pretending that the game doesn't exist, which is a problem that many adaptations make. It uses what little sort of narrative threads are in the actual game, takes them, kind of moves them into new different ways and does something with them and makes interesting characters out of them, great scenarios, and gives you the potential of something that's going to be very, very good. Which begs the question, we have a Castlevania TV show, but we haven't had a Castlevania game in about, since Lords of Shadow 2, which was a good 5 or 6 years ago. And those Lords of Shadow games, I like the first one. The second one was a little bit naff, but the why haven't we had a new Castlevania game? I mean, I know Konami aren't really doing much with any of their franchises. I mean, they've got Pro Evolution Soccer, and they're doing a sort of Metal Gear sort of side quest kind of thing that's multiplayer, but other than that, I mean, they're not doing anything with any of their franchises, which is very disappointing. This is the chance to do something with Castlevania, to give it to someone new, give it to someone, license it out to a developer that's capable, and there are plenty of developers who are more than capable of doing a new Castlevania game, either in the style of one of these older Castlevania games where it's sort of a straight action platformer, or a more Symphony of the Night style version like the GBA and the DS games were. There's plenty of room to do that. Why aren't sort of Konami looking to strike while the iron's hot? There is clearly interest in Castlevania, judging by the reactions to the television show. There are plenty of people that are not old enough to know what Castlevania is the first time round, but they've watched the series and they like it. Clearly they're going to be interested in a game, and there is none. There is nothing. There is very little avenues in playing some of these older games, other than a few sort of re-releases here and there, but most of the time there's a whole market out there waiting to be catered for, and no one is catering for them with a new game, and that's quite sad. But hopefully someone's going to get the message, look at this success of this and think, well, hang on, there's a chance for us to do something awesome here and give something that players old and new will actually want. And it all starts with this animated series, which again, I'm not going to spoil anything. You need to watch it. Most people have Netflix by now, surely. It's a good show. It's worth checking out. Give it a go. Again, it's 4 episodes, 20 minutes each. You're gonna love it if you like Castlevania. If you like animation, just watch it, enjoy, etc. That's it for me this week. I will be back on Thursday with another video, and I'll be back here on this couch next Monday with another gaming vlog. And until then, I shall see you around. Goodbye. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this and want more, you can click this icon to subscribe, this icon to support me financially via Patreon, or these icons to watch more videos from my channel. why not take a few seconds to answer the question of the week in the comments, or just let me know what you thought of this video. See you next week.